Hey, how's it going? Um, it's a snowy day up in the Northeast. Um, Today's episode is a really special episode. Earlier this summer, we had interviewed Chris O'Connor from Eastern Connecticut Paranormal Society. We were made aware of his untimely passing back in January. We had two parts of the episode, and originally we were going to save the second half for our Patreon viewers. With Chris's passing, we wanted to be able to share that episode with everybody, so you could truly see how gifted and how talented Chris was. He helped hundreds of people across this country with all kinds of things, from the spiritual to the paranormal. Our love, our condolences, and our light to Chris's family, Chris's friends, especially David and everybody at Eastern Connecticut Paranormal Society. On behalf of George and myself, we hope you enjoy the second half of this amazing interview with Chris O'Connor. Enjoy.
The views and opinions expressed in the following podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the producers, the affiliates, or digital platforms hosting this podcast. All content is for the purposes of education, conjecture, and at times entertainment. We promote inclusiveness and diversity. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Into the Deep, the Patreon edition. If you're listening and watching this episode, thank you so much for your contributions and your belief in what we're doing. George and I cannot thank you enough. So, without further ado, here is part 2 with Chris O'Connor. Enjoy. Has there ever been a time where you've been in an investigation and you've encountered something that you felt as just like, you're saying earlier, you're like, where you're just maybe a little scared and you're like, wow, that's it, I'm done.
Yep.
Wow.
We're all human.
Yeah.
Even as psychics. We had a case in Windsor, Connecticut, and we were there for a year and a half, battling a demon. Wow. And I did my thing of, I call it going on a journey or traveling, or some people call it astral projecting. It's not really astral projecting. I travel. I will go and travel, and we're trying to help this client. And David, because of our psychic connection, we have this thing called tethering. We'll set up a psychic tether line. And through that adventure, was face to face with a very demonic entity. And although David was trying to help and get answers, I wanted to get out of it, but he wasn't letting me out. I was very angry at him for a long time after that, but it was probably, I'd say, the top 3 scariest times I've ever been in, where I come out bawling. That kind of fear where you can't hold that emotion in anymore. And thankfully, our other teammate at the time, Melissa, she is a Reiki practitioner. She was able to immediately send energy to me, and I was able to recover. But so to answer your question about those times, there are times when they're like, all right, I'm done for the night, at least. And at that point right there, I was okay. We're not coming back until you bring in an exorcist. Because you have a very bad demon. The one that I encountered, now David he specializes in demonology. He wouldn't go too far as to call him a demonologist. He will, I guess. The demonologist is a kind of a broad term, and it's kind of a man-made term title. But because any one of us can become a demonologist, you just have to learn yourself on demons. Well, David has, and because one I captured was, as far as in the ranking system of demons, was up there. And I'm like, well, I'm not going back there. That was not fun. And we're not going back to the house until they bring in a priest. And because this thing is just, you got to know when you're not strong, or not, I don't say strong enough, but not the right person to conquer this thing. And in this event, there was clear that I was much not as strong as I thought I was. And even in my Christian belief, he was huge. I'm 6'1", and I jumped up on a well in this area. So I'm about 3 feet off the ground. So that makes me about 9 feet tall. I was looking at this creature eye to eye. And it was not pleasant. So when I did come out, I was done. One, it's exhausting to travel, but when you expose yourself or you're exposed to that, it's frightening. And so it does kill you. David, I'm trying to think, does he come across anything? He has. I think he may not come and say just done. He's like, okay, I think we've got enough for the night, and it's kind of like his cue. Okay, I'm done. There's our photographer. She's a wonderful photographer, but she'll say, I think I've had enough of this. I've had enough. And I said, all right, I think we're wrapping up now. No, she goes, no, I'm done. I trust you. You're done. No, I mean, I think with any paranormal team, they come across something that's not nice, and you're not prepared for it. Even though I was prepared, it was a lot more than my preparation. It was, I guess, looking back, it was freaking amazing that, I could hear, here I am, just this guy, and I've got this creature, this demonic entity, and I'm fighting with it. I'm struggling. We were fighting over a person. It was almost like a tug of war, and then he just blared out I don't call it a roar, but it was a horrible noise, and then I just let her go. I'm like, oh, I'm done. You want her, have her.
See ya.
I'm out. And then I jumped into the well.
Wow.
Why I thought that was a safe place to go, but and it turned out I jumped in the well and I was able to get back to where I started.
Wow. Oh, gosh.
It was an incredible journey.
Yeah.
I tell you, it was an incredible journey. There's times when, like profiling, I get to a spot like, I'm done. I don't want to see any more right now. The case in 2017, I didn't want to see what I knew I had to tell the family, and I didn't really want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But I did. So you get to certain points. I suppose if you asked any somebody who's like me, or even a paranormal investigator, they have that one episode. I'm like, yep, I'm done.
Yeah. Gosh. Do you, if you don't mind me asking, do you do anything to protect yourself in any way?
Absolutely. On routine cases, actually tonight, I'm talking about paranormal. I ask for a protective bubble around me because I'm wide open. Spirits are able to get in, but I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on the interview. So I imagine myself, or I put myself into a light, that protective light. I've asked God to protect me. Routine cases, before I even leave the driveway, I have a routine of prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's time, I always connect with the property or the place we're going to before we even get to. I will go and visit the building and the home, and I'll come back I'll text the team, hey, extra protect yourself tonight. There's something not right here. I'm not sure if it's demonic or malevolent, but that's just not good.
Right.
So yes, I just do it by prayer. There are other psychics, other mediums that will go through a whole different type of ritual, and that's great if that works for them. That's what works for them. That's awesome.
Right.
Some will sage themselves prior to going in and sage themselves coming out. I have a different trust factor. I was given this gift for a reason. God's not going to let me. Just that simple.
I love that. That's awesome. So just through prayer, no relics or anything. No.
No. I mean, I'm not Catholic, so I don't wear rosary. When the first time I visited the house in Connecticut, in Enfield, I did go up I had a cross in my pocket. Just because it was already known to be a demonic house.
Right.
But, it's, when you have, $10,000 in life insurance, what's wrong with 50? There's nothing wrong with having a little extra insurance. It's in my pocket. And it came in handy, let me tell you. That was a pretty interesting night as well. But like Dave, he's Catholic. He'll wear his rosaries. Like Eli, I'm not sure. I know he does prayers. Eli's Jewish, so he has his thing. Ruby kind of relies on. She does it. I think she does it herself. I really don't know for a fact, but I think she relies on my prayer to keep her included. And,
Gotcha.
and that's what I do. I include the whole team in my bubble of protection. There are times when you have to bring down that protection just to see if you can gather evidence. But it's done, if you think about it, if you have the walls up here, you bring it down about halfway just so you can get a little, see how far you go. But, it's almost, I guess you can kind of think of blinds. You can always pull the blinds closed as quickly as you can and leave the entity outside. We all have our tricks or our beliefs on how we protect ourselves. I mean, you have candles and you have a beautiful. I know the name of that thing, and I can't recall the candle.
Oh, the Sri Yantra, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
All used in different forms of protection.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure what you have. What's the woven thing?
Let's see, whereabouts?
In between the two candles, hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, that's the Sri Yantra right there.
Okay, no, I'm talking about the lantern, I guess. Other side.
Lantern right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had that for quite some time, and I just.
Where did you get it?
I honestly don't recall. It's probably been about 20, 25 years that thing's been in my life, so I don't recall.
It belongs there. It belongs in your life.
It does. It's been there. Yeah.
So I was admiring it. I'm like, that's one another gifts of scrying. I can identify different energies on objects and see their history if they want to show it, and then give people that big if. Most of the time they show it. So I was admiring the lantern, and the weaving behind your is. We all have that, and I see Buddha or a statue hanging over your shoulder.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Now is that is it? Your actual background? Some people put a fake background behind.
Yeah, no, this is real. It's actually 3-dimensional. As far as I know, it's 3-dimensional. Yeah. It's funny because I do. I'll have guests on, and they'll have kind of that like that augmented background. Sometimes it's like a green screen, what have you. But this is
my bedroom curtain.
Hey, I love it. It's a very nice bedroom curtain.
I hate them. My wife put them on. I hate them.
But if they were vertical lines, would you enjoy them more?
I don't actually. I'm not a in the lines kind of guy.
So I love it.
So unless I'm coloring, then I'm really not in the lines kind of guy. My whole life has been definitely out of the box.
I love that. That's awesome. And you wouldn't have it any other way.
Couldn't have it any other.
I love that. I love that. And I know you had mentioned earlier that your mother helped you as she was gifted herself. So I think it's awesome that you're carrying that legacy as well too through the lineage.
Cool. I have a daughter who is on the brink of it as well.
Wow.
She let herself. She used to be on our team, and then she went away for college.
Mm.
But she's definitely has it. She just needs to work on it. And then I'll get a call from her every now and then. Dad, did this happen to you? I'm like, yep. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
That's awesome. Oh my
So
God.
where are you located again?
So I'm a Rhode Island guy right now.
Oh.
I'm in Massachusetts currently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm a Rhode Island guy, born and raised. And yeah, it's just
You're not too far from me. I'm literally 10 minutes from the Rhode Island line.
okay. Yeah, right on. It's
Um,
I love Connecticut. I love Rhode Island. I love New England as a whole. It's just like
yeah.
it's my favorite.
I hope to get to Virginia one day. That's where I went to college, and I was in the Navy for 21 years. So,
okay. Well, thank you for your service. Wow.
Yeah, Virginia was my favorite place, and I'm an
love-
avid Walton fan. I love the Walton, and I've always wanted to live on the Blue Ridge.
Mm,
That's where I'm not necessarily hate the water. I love the water, but I'd rather be in the mountains.
yeah. I'm the same way. I love, that's why I'm drawn to Vermont and New Hampshire, but I also love Virginia for those exact reasons. Yeah.
You probably would enjoy upstate New York, and where did we go? The Ausable Caverns in it's by Lake George.
Okay.
What a place. Oh my gosh. You need to connect, you need to get regrounded. There's a good place to go.
No kidding.
It's like a class 2 hike,
Okay.
but you're basically hiking around, I'm not sure what name of the river, but once you're finished with the hike, you take the raft and it brings you back to your destination where you started. But I went there it was 2016, summer of 2016. It was a time for me to go there. I needed to connect. So that's one way I guess empower myself more, is more earth, earth versus water. A lot of people get reborn or re-energized through water. And I did too, but I prefer taking my shoes off and just walking on rocks. And it's a great how I mean, literally, I feel like, I've been plugged into the charger.
Yeah.
But Ausable, it's a beautiful place. I mean, almost magical. I mean, it was created by an iceberg. So, that's in that magical power, if you will. So that's where I like to go. And then places like that. There's a really neat place in Hershey. It's a big old cave. It's got stalagmites, and
Wow.
that's pretty intense. The energy that once you get inside there is pretty intense. There's nothing wrong with going to Misquamicut either. That's
Also, just
there's a plug for Misquamicut.
yeah.
It's one of my duty stations was in Newport, Rhode Island.
Oh, no kidding.
So, but yeah, I guess I spent most of my life south of the Mason-Dixon line. I mean, I grew up in Connecticut and left for 3 decades, and then came back. Why I came back to Connecticut? I don't know why I didn't stop in Virginia on my way, because I
Right. Yeah.
stopped in Virginia, but this is where I am, and my wife wants to move.
Oh, so I mean, Virginia might be on the horizon, my friend.
It could be, but I love my house.
Oh.
I live in a 1789 farmhouse.
Oh.
So It's
Amazing.
got its charm and its spirits, and I think they would be sad if I left.
Oh, yeah. Bed and breakfast it is.
Yeah, that is. And then I have my children are still around here too, for most of them.
Right on. Yeah.
Other paranormal questions do you need?
Gosh, yeah.
I mean, you can keep going, right?
I mean, yeah, I could. So that just means we're going to have to do this again if you're cool with that.
I love to talk about the paranormal. I think I'm always open to learning new processes through the paranormal investigating avenue, but there's so many teams out there that do it wrong. And it hurts the paranormal field. You know, the science and the parascience are never going to come together. They're never going to be that. But as a paranormal investigator, it's our job to try, get it as close as we can. At least get science that say, hey, that could be. Gravity was mocked when it was being discovered. And there's so much about the other side that we just don't know. And it seems as years go on, at least for me, I discover more truths about the other side. And I believe it's because God's letting me see these things. So we'll get there. So going back to, there's a lot of paranormal teams out there that will call evidence, not evidence. And this is coming from a psychic who sees the dang spirit right there. I see it right there. Why can't you get a picture of it? But we don't have a picture of it, so it's only there for me. It's not proof. And there are many psychics out there that will go against that theory, and that's wrong. So I guess my role in life is bifurcated for being psychic and then being scientific. I bring in the two together on my own. I mean, I like getting validation. When I say, hey, your Grandma Martha is standing behind you, and you say, hey, I do have a Grandma Martha. That's, to me, is scientific evidence. Things of that nature, or with now not knowing anything about the Wyndham Inn, I walk in there. Our walkthrough was pretty amazing. You've heard of a K2 meter?
Not familiar.
It measures EMF, or electronic magnetic fields. During our walkthrough, now, reiterate that the inn had no electricity.
That's right.
Had no electricity. We walk into apartment 2, I will call it, and the K2 is pinging. And I'm like, okay. So there's no reason why this K2 should be going off. I don't have a cell phone on me. I don't have anything electrical near me. Why is this thing going on? So getting that validation of, okay, I know there's spirits here. I see them. I have a K2 saying they see it too. And then I get names, and Eli does research, and he comes back with these names, and I listed them all. So that's kind of like my scientific proof that, hey, I'm onto something. A lot of scientists don't do it that way. It's actually a disservice to their client.
Right on.
The number 5 is coming to, I always use that example. Number 5 is coming to me. What's important about the number 5? It's before 6. Yeah, that's that's what I like to say. When I do use numbers, I get specifics. I had a client where I talked about, I said, your mother is showing me the number 25, and it has something to do with sports. This is a jersey of one of your children. Wait a minute, this child, don't tell me yet. I'll say, don't tell me anything yet. This child hurt her ankle. So it's your daughter, she hurt her ankle. She's want to know how. So it all leads to, it really has no importance about the 25. it's a validation that, hey, your mom's here and she wants to know how your daughter's doing with her ankle injury. And when I say all that stuff, they fall down on the ground, you're like, how do you know all that stuff? Your mother's telling me this. And so, and her, and her daughter's jersey number. So that's when a number is perfect. Have you, if you're agreeable, I'd like to do your numerology chart.
Sure.
All you'd have to do is send me your name on your birth certificate and your date of birth. Okay. And I will do there's 5 key components, I said that quickly, of the numerology chart. And I'll do that for you. And let's see if it's your personality and your lifestyle.
Right on.
I think it will. So quickly, or I don't know if we're on air, if you want to say your
That's birth. Okay. Yeah, I can edit it out. Don't worry. Go ahead. You can ask anything.
So what's your date of birth? I can give you your life path right now, your life path number.
Sure. It is August 27th, 1979.
August 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's 35. And then 1979. Mm-hmm. So that's 18 plus 35 is, I'm doing it real quickly in my head. No, I'm right. That's 53. So your life path is 8.
Okay.
And you're like, how did you get there with all those numbers? It's a sequence. You add everything up together and you keep adding the numbers until you get to a single number.
Gotcha.
And so I will. So if you want to, you have my email. You can just shoot that to me again. Your birth name and your date of birth, and I will send you out a numerology chart.
Oh wow! Awesome.
Yeah, and see how. No problem. I love doing them because it's really neat how I'm like, what I'm getting from you now. I'm like, yeah, I could see this with him. I could kind of get this. I get a better picture. Sometimes I do a numerology report and they're like, I'm nothing like this. And I said, you're everything like this. You're just in denial. I did one on my brother and he's like, I'm not like this. I said, yeah, you are. This is, and I point out times in his life where he's proven that he's like this. He goes, that's just perception. It's pretty damn good perception.
It's right here.
Numbers don't lie.
Right.
No. It's all open to it.
That's
Would
awesome.
You like to do that for you? You wouldn't mind sending that? I will send it on. No problem.
That's awesome. Yeah, what I'll do is I can get the email from George, so I can hop in on that email thread, and then I can send you that info, and that'd be awesome.
If George wants one too, I'll do it for George as well. It's I enjoy doing them. And I have a pretty vast library of, and it's kind of weird how it goes. I'm like, okay, if you're 8, I may not go to the same book each time. I'm like, yep, this must be it, because this is what I was getting when I'm speaking to him. Must be what he is.
Yeah.
It works out. You and my son, if I put you two together, you would think you guys are in the same band. Similar hair, similar beard. His is more red.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I used to be like that, 40 years ago. Damn it.
Right on. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll be 43 this August. Very fortunate. Good follicle count, and the genetics have been good. Just a couple grays maybe, and starting to pop out, but
your beard is just to your opening of your shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's with your hair. It's all blending.
Yeah.
But, I think it's righteous.
Thanks, brother.
I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I hate it too, because like, God, I used to have such long. Before I joined the service, my hair was probably about your height, just past my shoulders.
Oh, wait, hold on. It's only because it's up. It's actually it's way down to my waist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Good for you. When it wasn't that long, and mine was just past past my shoulders, and curly as all get out.
No kidding.
yeah, I guess if you pulled out the curls, it might be even longer. It was
Yeah.
yeah, real curly. And I didn't have a beard then, but I had a pretty good stash.
Goatee and stash.
Yeah, now I had but once you go into service, all of that.
Oh yeah, just the mustache.
Even during boot camp, you can't have the mustache.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You know, after I got my hair cut and had to shave, I didn't look in a mirror for 6 weeks.
Wow.
I'd brush my hair in the shower. I'd brush my teeth in the shower. I
don't want to look
in the shower. I took one look at myself. I'm like, oh my God, you are one ugly mother. And I was like, I never looked in the mirror until I think they were almost at least 6 weeks.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I
don't blame you. I would probably feel the same way.
Think about it. I mean, you look what you have there,
right?
And you go nothing, close to nothing. You're like, holy Toledo!
That's a shock.
It's definitely a shock. And it's like, I didn't know I had that there. Yeah,
yeah, right. I have a misshaped head. I didn't know.
Thank God I didn't have that. But
no, good.
And my ears are flat to my head. Some of these guys.
Oh yeah. Oh horrible. Gosh. Yeah.
Horrible. I'm like, wow, you don't get behind a win. You're gone. Sorry, guys.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't want to find out. Hopefully, we'll keep going on this trajectory.
Yeah, well, my son is 34. He'll be 35 this year, and his hair is was similar to mine.
Okay.
Or used to be what my hair was. Long and curly, and I actually, because he's also a great vocalist, I said, you know what, you need to try out for Jesus Christ Superstar, because you're the walking image. He's got that whole
that's awesome
Anglo-Saxon Jesus look to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's skinny, and he's got this long beard and the long hair, and he's dark, he's got brown eyes, but he just, but he like the one that we all grew up with.
Right.
And he hasn't done it yet.
Maybe he can. We'll encourage him to do
I
that.
wish he would, because he's a phenomenal vocalist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anything else you'd like to know before we jump off?
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess on a personal level, we don't even have to put this in, but I mean, were you feeling something? I know you noticed the lamp and then the Sri Yantra.
Yes. I just see this. You have a very open aura, meaning that you're blue to purple, which is really cool.
Mm.
I don't see your full. I'm assuming that's your full body. Not everybody has a full color aura, but your aura is purple to indigo,
mm-hmm.
which is really cool. It means that you're you're an open-minded person, and also that your crown chakra is open to receive about anything. If you're seeking forgiveness, is that something that you're looking at right now in your life?
Possibly. I think there's something in particular. Yeah.
Because it's when you're open to when your crown chakra is open, you're able to receive much more than just when it's not open. Put it that way. Yeah. They often say you have to have an open heart to receive or give forgiveness, and that's true too. I mean, your heart chakra is very important, but your crown chakra is, I'm sure you've heard the term the third eye,
mm-hmm.
A term, but that's where that comes from, because in a Hindu picture of chakras, they show an eye, and that's where they say the third eye. And I hate that term, but it's like cyclops. I'm not,
right.
But no, you have quite the radiant blue, like blue to indigo. It starts off blue closer to your body, and then it goes out indigo when it and I think that's why it's more remarkable with your hair, because it's if this makes any sense, and it embraces it, embodies, it's your embodiment, almost to a Samson effect,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
There's you have multiple guides that are bringing you to your current place. We all have guides, so you can. One is usually a family member or a familiar. It not necessarily doesn't have to be like a direct, father, mother, brother, sister type. It could be that great grandfather that walked the same path you did, or you are now in relationship. Now he may not have had hair down to his waist, but he had. I guess if you think of long hair is a form of rebellion, and even at the simplest form of you're rebelling the barber.
Sure. Yeah.
You enjoy the look, you enjoy the hair, you enjoy how it presents you. That person fits that same persona, those same attitudes. And you will know, being open when you're not quite on the right path, or you're veering off of it, and you'll know because not just one thing goes wrong, but multiple things go wrong that are saying, hey, listen, dumbass, you're supposed to be doing this. And so listen, you have a spirit animal too that's always with you. They're usually they're also guides. They also push you back onto the plan. And remarkably, it's not not a typical Native American spirit animal. Are you very tall?
No.
Your spirit animal is. Really? That's why I was just like, wow, I don't know what he's. And this could be just a transitional animal, but it's very funny that the giraffe is showing itself. So wow. That's why I said, "Are you very tall?" So you can research what the giraffe represents in spirit animal, and it could be a transition animal and that's another thing. People, my spirit guide says my spirit animal says. I'm like, well, not necessarily it all the time. Right. You have different animals come into your life. Like a horse is a transitional spirit animal. It means you're moving from one place to the next. Our typical ones, bear, wolf, hawk, turtle is another. Those are Native American ones, and they get assigned. But like I'm a wolf. My spirit, I'm not. My spirit animal is a wolf, and he's always there, always been with me. But there's times when I've had seals, whales, a lot of sea life will come through as transitioning animals. So for some, I don't know. That's why I asked if you were tall.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, why are you showing me? Why is a giraffe being shown to me? And but you also have a bird of prey with you as well. Not sure which, but you have this soaring kind of personality. You like to be, I don't want to say floating or flying, but unconfined. Is that fair statement?
Absolutely.
You're not one to be stationary in a particular place in your life for a long time. Even if you're stable within, say, I'm in my home in Rhode Island, and that's your common denominator. But you go and seek out other adventures, I guess.
Yeah.
Another way to put it.
Yeah.
That's your spirit of avoiding confinement. You'll tolerate it, but there's times when you're done tolerating. You have to go out and be myself. I'll conform right now, but don't ask me to do it for 10 minutes. I'll only do it for 5.
Gotcha.
I'm out there. Does that make sense?
It does. 100%. Yeah.
And if any time that it doesn't make sense, then I mean, I'm not always. I'm
Sure.
almost never 100%. And I was actually the type of psychic that I am. I will tell you, hey, this is what I get, and I don't get. What I don't. Right. I'm not going to tell you. If you're looking for your Aunt Gertrude, she's not here. Sorry.
Right. No Aunt Gertrude. Sorry.
But if there are times when, oh gosh, I was at a pub with my wife, and my wife tolerates my gift. Sometimes she finds it quite a nuisance, but there are times when I'm out and I'm sorry, I got to talk to these people, complete strangers.
Right.
This guy wants me to talk to them. And she looks at me like, you have to do that. We're out on a nice date, where you don't. All right. I'll try to make it short. And I was at a pub. Her father came forward. I just, I'm like, I'm not sure how to tell you this. I don't like going all Teresa Caputo is what I call it. All Teresa Caputo on somebody. That's the best way to describe it, isn't it? Right. But there's times when they're coming forward and say, listen, your light's on, I'm coming. You've got to get this message.
Right.
And then they cry, and then you're like, I don't want you to cry, don't cry. And they almost always cry. Sometimes it's happy tears, sometimes it's sad tears. But you're actually, one of your guys are just talking to me, just telling me, little tidbits about your life thus far. You like to ride the rails. And what that means to me is that, again, you're not in the middle of the road. You like the boundaries. You like seeing what could happen. You riding the rails. You like looking at, you want to see what's on the other side of those boundaries. Sometimes you like, hey, I'm going to go see what those boundaries are. Mm-hmm. But most of the time you get close. Yeah. You like to get very, very close. So I'm like, okay, that's okay too. I think that's cool. I lived that life as well. And I guess I'm maybe too old to do that now. I don't too old or too tired. I'm a father of 6.
Oh wow!
And I have 8 grandchildren. So I'm excited. I live an excited life.
God bless you. That's amazing.
I have. I get tired.
I bet.
But again, if you need to stop. You need to shut it off when you're ready to shut this off, because I'm going to keep going.
Right on. Well, I appreciate. I mean, you're not feeling anybody or anything. Just that couple of guys.
It's not just I tend to believe this. I mean, your male guide is a grandparent, a grandfather of sorts.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's kind of like, if we ever meet in person, I might come out, say something. But he's actually, when I'm presenting with a family member, I'll ask them to stand in a certain spot so I know who they are. If your mom or dad, the left side is for male relations and right side is for female relations. So mom or dad, step close. Be close to you're first in line. Grandparents, you're second line. So I have them stand. And like if you're an aunt or an uncle, you stand one to the left or the right. So it helps me identify. But then they get, I was like his dad, so I'm going to stand right here. And I'm like, well, are you his dad, or you were like his dad? So that's when people say, well, or I may even say, like a father figure. And I hate that term because it's so vague. I like to be very specific. If I'm going to do a reading, I want to be as specific as I can. And even what I've told you so far is not as specific as I like to be.
Mm.
But you're this guy. Yeah. He's ever since you was born, he's always looked at the boundaries, or he likes riding the rails, meaning he likes to take chances, and it kind of goes back to your nonconformist way of, not that you're going to do things your way, and that you wouldn't take input from others, because you actually rely on input from others to guide you. That's actually one of your positive traits, is that you are open-minded to take input from other people. Taking it, not always putting it into practice, but taking it. Sometimes, I can tell by facial expression, so, oh, I hit that one on the head, or and so, but he's shown me a time you're on a bicycle and you're going in a direction that you were told not to go, but you're like, I'm going. So
okay, all right.
You're young. You're a young kid, probably before 10.
Okay, all right. I think.
So you're. Yeah. So you. It could have. I don't know if this makes sense. Were you jumping ramps and you weren't supposed to be jumping ramps? I see, like, you pedaling your ass off and you're going over a ramp, and you in your heart that, well, I was told not to do this.
Probably going to bag it. I've jumped ramps a lot. I used to fall a lot. My brother had more accidents than I did, but I did have one really bad bike accident but it was more like I was a doofus, and I figured I'd put my bike in the back of my dad's pickup truck, and I'm like, oh, this would be a cool high jump. No, the front of the bike's gonna fall, dummy, and it just got to the edge and
a bit bigger.
that was it. That was the worst fall I had. But I did jump a lot of ramps. I did fall a lot, but that was the worst one that I had. But
no, I'm just thinking this was a time when you were told, no, you shouldn't do that, or if you do that, you're going to get in trouble or something along.
I know there was a bunch of times that happened a lot.
Again, that's half thing. Yeah,
sure.
But it's. I want this man is probably grandfather, great grandfather type of.
Okay.
Maybe even like your grandfather's uncle or brother. Because he's like, nope, you were told not to do that. You were told not. He's like sitting back watching. He was told not to do that. He's gonna fall. He's gonna bust his nose, or he's gonna bust his face, and boom, there you go. He was told not to do that, and he did it anyway. And that's what happened. And for kids, most of the time, when they do hurt themselves, they were doing something they were told not to do.
Right.
So that's cool. Yeah, I see it. It's bicycle. Yeah. Again, that goes back to a lot of your, when you ride a bike, you're free. You're essentially flying on two wheels.
Yeah.
And so it kind of goes along with that. He definitely a bird of prey is coming forward, and he's kind of a handsome bird. He's kind of brown with like wolf feathers, racing his just on his head, kind of pretty bird. But the giraffe is there too, because he's like, I'm here too.
Don't forget me.
Don't forget me. So that's why I was like, maybe you're tall. Everybody. Nobody knows really how tall you are in.
Yeah, right. In this
TV,
two-dimensional rectangle.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
I hope it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely enjoyed that.
You're definitely and you'll know when you're closing up, because you're little sign, kinks in your shoulder, kinks in your lower back, for no reason. You're like, why is my back hurt? I didn't do anything for my back to hurt.
Right.
Those are subtle signs that you're not as open, and you're not letting positive energy come in. You're holding on to negative energy, and when you hold on to negative energy, it adversely affects your body. I mean, that's just science. That's also, but it's also, psychic, or whatever you want to call it. But I don't see you holding on to that kind of negativity very long. When actually, I don't see a lot of negative comes into your life. I think you have like a south-south or north-north pole relationship with negativity. You have the ability to ward it off before it actually penetrates. Every now and then your pole switches and it attracts. I don't see you attracting negativity. Do you believe you attract negativity?
I don't feel like I do. Obviously it happens from time to time, but for the most part, I always feel like I'm the individual trying to keep that positive energy going for other folks in their life and around us and our environment. And, times I can feel a shift in energy if I'm in a place that I can sometimes feel a little
absolutely
or something, but for the most part,
and having an open chakra like you do, that purple aura, indigo or blue, is indicative to that, of picking up the energy shifts, and then your inner or your subconscious knows how to react.
And there you have it. I cannot thank Chris enough for all of his time and just sharing some space with us. You can find Chris at easternctparanormal.com, where he's the co-founder of the Eastern Connecticut Paranormal Society, as well as on Instagram at easternctparanormal. We truly appreciate all your love and support and contributions to our podcast and our future endeavors. You're now part of an exclusive inner sanctum, and we cannot thank you enough. If you like what you're hearing, please share the links with people who would enjoy this content, as well as rate us. You can find us on Instagram, as well as on Twitter, and our Facebook. So, until next time, take care of one another and keep thinking for yourself.